Ugh. Super Saiyans drive me nuts! My whole family looks like a bunch of delinquents after they transform, and they never listen to me.
Oh, give it a rest.
It just makes them tougher, that's all.
Hi guys, Neo here, and we're going to be doing another one of these Dragon Ball Files videos. It's been a hot minute since I've done one of these, so I apologise if the format's a little bit skewy, but I've had other things to be doing and working on for the channel and IRL. But as you just heard, today guys, we are going to be talking about Super Saiyan. More accurately, Goku Super Saiyan. And I'm going to be taking it from the point of view that Goku was the first Super Saiyan, and what I mean by that is the first Super Saiyan that we saw on screen. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I know, depending what sort of timeline, that Goku wasn't the first Super Saiyan. But yeah, we're going to be taking it from that point of view, that Goku was the first, the original Super Saiyan, because he is the first one that we saw on screen. So let's dive into it. Okay guys, so Super Saiyan. Again, taking it from the perspective that Goku was the first Super Saiyan in canon that we saw on screen, not in story. Now, the interesting thing that I find about the first Super Saiyan transformation is that, well, we saw it in anger. We saw it in a time where, you know, Goku was trying to defend. He was trying to save Planet Namek. He was essentially trying to save the universe from the terror that was Lord Frieza and kind of dominating the galaxy. So I find Super Saiyan and the way they did it very, very interesting, because this first version of Super Saiyan that we see is very mixed for me, in the sense that we see, I think, more of Goku's personality than we have in a very long time. You know, first he's kind of powerful and angry, and then we kind of see a moment where it switches, where Goku is playing with Frieza, that he is essentially underestimating and also dominating Frieza, and we see that switch from kind of pure-hearted, caring Saiyan to then we see the, I guess, more Saiyan of ego and power, and kind of more of the Saiyan bloodline coming to the surface. And I think that's very interesting to see in a character like Goku. I think it's very interesting to see the way Goku's transformation, at least the first time we see Super Saiyan, is not just a transformation in power, it's not just a transformation with the hair, it's not just a transformation in, you know, he's unlocked this legendary form which hasn't been seen for years, decades possibly, you know, hundreds of years possibly. But we see that transformation not just in power but in personality. And I kind of wonder why that was dropped a little bit. I feel like the emphasis of that was kind of dropped a little bit. They kind of dropped it in every now and then when a new transformation was unlocked. But other than that, it wasn't so much spoken about. The fact that the transformation isn't just a boost in power, it can actually alter the person or the individual's personality. And I think that that is really cool. You know, we've seen in not just in Dragon Ball universe, but in different universes as well, different animes, different series, that a transformation or a boost in power can do exactly that. It can boost in power, but I'm always more interested in if there is a change in personality, if there is an evolution within the characters, not just an evolution within the transformations and power. And that kind of starts with seeing that moment of Goku transforming. You know, he tells Gohan, run before I lose it. He's not going to be able to control himself, that actually this power is way too much and he doesn't know if he's going to be able to control it. And then again we see another flip from kind of the initial transformation to then the cockiness, and Goku may be understanding in that point that actually he can whoop Frieza's ass and this fight is done. We then see kind of more of the kind of kind-hearted Goku, where Frieza's like, I'm gonna finish this now. You know, when Goku transfers some of his energy and then Frieza tries to fire back with the blast and Goku goes, you fool! And finishes the fight. I find that switch, you know, we had so many episodes where it's kind of this build-up and monologues, and then finally the transformation hits, and then we get even more episodes kind of exploring, at least in my eyes, exploring the nature of what a Super Saiyan is and what the transformation can mean. And I find that absolutely fascinating. And I wish they dived into it more. As I said, they kind of did with other transformations. This video is about Super Saiyan, but for example, you know, Gohan switching to Super Saiyan 2, the first Super Saiyan 2, and we then see Gohan kind of go through that same journey of he can't control the power, he's very angry, and then we kind of see the kind-heartedness of Gohan prevail in that, and he doesn't become the villain himself. But then with Super Saiyan 3, we see kind of the same, but with the caveat of actually this power is way too much and my body can't hold it for a big length of time. So that was another evolution of the transformations. And again, it all kind of factors back to that original Super Saiyan transformation on planet Namek as it's exploding and dying around Goku and Frieza. And I find the fact that they did that, you know, it would have been enough for a new transformation and power-up, and I don't necessarily want to get into the multipliers, honestly, because they've changed over the years from from Dragon Ball to Z to GT to Super to now Daima. I believe they're still changing and evolving multipliers and stuff, so I don't so much want to get into that, and it doesn't necessarily inform us of anything of from the perspective of characters and what is going on with them. So I find that first transformation, it kind of gives us a very brief wash of everything Super Saiyan, whether it be Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, right up to, Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct Sign, or Mastered, whatever. We see these kind of traits of actually the power is too much, and the Saiyan blood that flows through them is kind of taking over, and that yearn for battle, and kind of the difficulties with keeping their own personalities and who they are as people versus I have this new power, it feels amazing, and I've also got to be some sort of new big bad, and there's all of that going on as well. And I find it, again, from a character's point of view, I find it absolutely fascinating that Goku, of all people, kind of goes from I'm angry because you've just killed my best friend, and that's what arguably triggers the transformation. You could say it was other stuff as well, and his training, and it just suddenly broke the limits, and that's what allowed the transformation. But I find it absolutely fascinating that we get this scaling within the transformation of different personalities or different versions of a personality coming out, and the switching between that and how that is managed. Is it the best management of it? I don't know. As I said, Dragon Ball every now and then, just the Dragon Ball universe, the Dragon Ball series, feathers it in every now and then. And other series has done it when it's come down to transformations and power levels, etc., etc. But I find it absolutely amazing and fascinating that was kind of the template. Others have mixed the template, others have arguably done the template better for a first transformation, that is. And then, even within its own universe, Dragon Ball has evolved the template itself and done different changes within it. So it's absolutely fascinating to me. And I honestly think that without that transformation, we don't get a lot of things within the Dragon Ball universe. I know a lot of people with the Frieza saga, there was too much monologuing, and it took 50 episodes to actually get to a fight. And I kind of agree with all of that, but without that moment, without that build-up, without that moment where Goku is screaming and the transformation and Gohan run over, I'm not going to be able to control myself here. I find absolutely fascinating, and to me that is all part of the transformation of Super Saiyan, that build up, and yeah, I don't know, guys. I find it absolutely fascinating, and I think that as much as the power levels and stuff can be an interesting topic, I think more what does the character have to go through, or what does the character go through once they have then achieved a new transformation. I find that more fascinating because the power scaling and power levels was eventually dropped because it was just getting too ridiculous, which I agree with, by the way. But I think it doesn't really matter, to be honest, in terms of a viewer. Sometimes it's nice to hear numbers, but it doesn't actually mean anything. What keeps in our minds are the moments with regards to transformations, the moments where it happened, or the moments that led up to it, the build-up, such as on Planet Namek, Goku finally achieving legendary Super Saiyan. Just a quick little note here. I do find it sad that my boy Vegeta is kind of not there to see it. I know he's resurrected, I get all that, and I get that he finally gets his moment with Super Saiyan, but I don't know. It makes me sad inside, guys. What can I say? It really does make me sad that actually Vegeta wasn't there to witness that moment. Considering, from a certain point of view anyway, it was Vegeta that kind of encouraged Goku to go for that sort of power. I don't think Goku at that point in the story really cared about transformations or even the legend of the Super Saiyan. He just wanted to be stronger, and he just wanted to stop Frieza at that point and make sure nobody else is dying, any of his friends, etc. So I wish Vegeta could have actually been there, but that's a side note. But yeah, guys, what do you guys think of that, quite frankly, legendary moment where we first see a transformation? Not including apes, of course, which I'm probably going to have to cover in a video at some point, but it's not today. But, you know, transformation within the Super Saiyan line, I'll say that. Let me know what you guys think of it. Was it you were hyped and pumped about the power and the yellow hair and the aura and the energy, and then, yeah, this is gonna ramp up and rah 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 rah? Or was you taken by the character moment? And again, is that your perspective then, or is that still your perspective now? Which way do you guys fall with that? Do let me know. I'd be really interested, actually. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I think everyone knew I was going to tackle this eventually. The first Super Saiyan transformation. And again, just because we talk about something in one video doesn't mean we can't go back to it in the future. So yeah, please do keep that in mind, and maybe one day we will revisit the legendary transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and I'm gonna get the hell out of here.